The teacher who changed my life. I still remember the first time I walked into Mr. Johnson's classroom. I was 15 years old, struggling with English, and convinced that I would never be able to speak fluently. English always felt like a mountain too high to climb. I had memorized vocabulary lists, drilled grammar rules, and completed endless exercises. But when it came to speaking, I froze. My confidence was at its lowest, and I felt like giving up. But that was before I met the teacher who would change my life. A new beginning. Mr. Johnson was unlike any other teacher I had ever met. On the first day of class, he didn't start with grammar or vocabulary. Instead, he told us a story. It was about a young boy from a small village who dreamed of traveling the world but didn't know English. He worked hard, made mistakes, and faced many obstacles, but he never gave up. By the end of the story, the boy had become a successful interpreter, traveling across different countries. I was fascinated. That boy could be me, I thought. And then Mr. Johnson said something I'll never forget. English is not about perfection. It's about communication. If you're afraid of making mistakes, you'll never improve. Those words stuck with me. Breaking the fear. One of the first things Mr. Johnson did was encourage us to speak every day, no matter how bad we thought we were. He made speaking a part of our routine. Every morning, we had to share something about our day, our thoughts, or our dreams. At first, I was terrified. My sentences were broken, my pronunciation was awkward, and sometimes I couldn't find the right words. But Mr. Johnson never corrected us in a way that made us feel embarrassed. Instead, he smiled and encouraged us to keep going. Slowly, I started to speak more. My sentences became clearer, and my fear of making mistakes began to fade. One day, I managed to tell a short story in English without stopping. It wasn't perfect, but I did it. That was the moment I realized I could improve if I kept trying. A different approach. Mr. Johnson believed that learning English should be fun. He brought music, movies, and books into our lessons. We listened to songs and discussed their meanings. We watched films and imitated the way native speakers talked. He even introduced us to English books that were easy to read but full of interesting stories. One day, he handed me a book and said, "Read this. I think you'll like it." The book was The Little Prince. At first, I struggled, but Mr. Johnson told me not to focus on understanding every word. Just get the meaning, he said. As I read more, I started to enjoy it. For the first time, English wasn't just something I had to learn. It was something I wanted to learn. Pushing beyond limits. Mr. Johnson also gave us challenges. One of them was a speak-only English day, where we weren't allowed to use our native language at all. It was difficult at first, but it pushed us out of our comfort zones. He also introduced us to journaling in English. Every day, we had to write a few sentences about our thoughts, feelings, or experiences. This helped me organize my thoughts in English and made speaking easier. Another exercise he gave us was shadowing. We had to listen to a recording of native speakers and repeat exactly what they said, copying their tone and rhythm. It felt strange at first, but over time, my pronunciation improved and I sounded more natural. A life-changing moment. One day, Mr. Johnson announced that we would have a speaking competition. We had to prepare a short speech and present it in front of the class. The idea terrified me. Me? Speaking in front of the whole class? Impossible. But Mr. Johnson looked at me and said, "You're ready. Believe in yourself." I spent days practicing, repeating my speech over and over. When the day came, I stood in front of the class, my heart pounding. I took a deep breath and started speaking. My voice shook at first, but as I continued, I felt more confident. When I finished, the class clapped. Mr. Johnson smiled. "That," he said, "is progress." That moment changed me. I realized that fear had been my biggest barrier. But now, I wasn't afraid anymore. Looking back, years later, I look back and realize how much Mr. Johnson shaped my journey. Because of him, I never gave up. I kept practicing, kept speaking, and eventually, English became a natural part of my life. Today, I can have conversations with native speakers, watch movies without subtitles, and even write in English without struggling. Mr. Johnson didn't just teach me English. He taught me confidence, perseverance, and the power of believing in myself. If you're struggling with English, remember this. It's not about being perfect. It's about taking small steps every day. Keep speaking, keep learning, and never be afraid of mistakes. Because in the end, every mistake brings you closer to success. If you're struggling with learning English, find a way to make it enjoyable. Read books that interest you, watch movies, listen to music, and practice speaking every day. Surround yourself with the language, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. The more you practice, the better you'll become. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You have the ability to learn and improve, just like I did, and just like so many others before you. Thank you for watching English Listening Journey. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content for English learners like you. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and see you in the next video.